Right, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mr. Livingstone, your teacher, and today I'm going to be teaching you about the 7 common CV mistakes that everybody seems to fucking make. These are the 7 mistakes that recruiters absolutely hate, and I'm going to teach you how to fix them. How do I know this? Well, I've been a recruiter for the last 10 years. I've seen every single mistake that everyone seems to make on their CVs. I see it consistently happening all the time. And I thought I would make a video about it. So that way, if someone watches this, they get a good idea on how to actually structure their CV that allows them to stand out amongst all the other fucking CVs that we get on a day-to-day basis, especially as a recruiter. Me being a recruiter for the last 10 years, the amount of CVs I have to go through, honestly, there is a small window that you have to get the recruiter's attention or the hiring manager's attention for you to actually get a look in. So without further ado, let's proceed. Right, this is one of the most important things, and I'm surprised how many people fuck this up, right? Top of the fold contact details. Statistically speaking, and you can Google this or AI search this, you have less than 7 seconds to get the attention of recruiters or hiring managers, okay? Literally, you have 7 seconds to get their attention. They're going to quickly breeze over important parts of your CV and they make a snap judgment. Now, right now, you can argue that that's not right and that they should take better looks at people's CVs or profiles. Too bad. It's human nature. They're going to make a snap judgment. And the snap judgment that they make is based on data points that they have developed over years and years of being a recruiter, right? So they instantly can generally tell if a CV is going to be suitable for them or not, or a person's profile is going to be suitable for them or not, right? But you have less than 7 seconds to get their attention. Once you get their attention, don't make a recruiter have to go looking on your CV for your contact details. I've seen people put it on the second page. I've seen people put it down the bottom left-hand corner. I've seen people put it in amongst the body of their CV. I've seen them put it in fucking random places. It's really stupid. Don't do that. Top of the fold, right at the top. Here's your name. Here's your email. Here's your phone number. Here's your LinkedIn link. Okay. And if you have other social media platforms that you want to put on your LinkedIn, put it top of the fold. So that way it's super easy. I just want to look up. There's your contact details. I'm going to be getting in touch with you. Okay. Something to note once you've put your contact details top of the fold is whether or not you should have a picture. Okay. Now, this is kind of like a topic of discussion. Some people say yes, other people say no. My view on it after spending 10 years in recruitment is this: humans have biases. Whether you like it or not, they have biases. Okay. You putting your photo on there, unless you're incredibly good looking, could potentially have a detrimental effect on your application. Okay. I tell people that unless they can do if they've got a great photographer, a photography studio, if they've got specific AI tools that they can use to make themselves look very presentable on a photo in their CV, absolutely go for it. But honestly, if you're ugly and you're not good looking, unless you get the AI to make yourself a little bit better looking, don't do it. If I'm honest, you need to give yourself the best opportunity to do this. Having a really shit passport style horrible photo on your CV is going to work against you. Okay. The good news is there are multiple new AI apps that you can use, systems, tools, whatever you want to fucking call them, that'll allow you to pump out a pretty decent portrait photo just by taking photos on your mobile phone and then running it through the app. You don't need to spend $1,000 anymore to get a professional photo shoot done. And it's not like you're going to be dating this person. If you catfish them a little bit, it's not going to be a big deal. So you can get away with maybe making yourself a little bit skinnier or a little bit prettier, whatever, with the AI app, as long as you don't completely change the way you look. So that we're not kind of weirded out by that when you come into the actual interview. That's okay. Right, next thing, results driven bio and about section. So bios are your next best chance to sell yourself. And the mistake that I see people making is kind of talking like using ChatGPT or any other like shitty AI tool to write the bio for you that's not specific to your role, and more importantly to the results that you have garnered during your career. People care about results. Companies care about results. What have you done? What value can you drive? What are the results that you've driven in your career and in your business? Write tangibles of results and get to the point. Avoid the fluff, okay? I don't think I need to explain what I mean by fluff, but just like I'm a hard worker and I'm friendly and my coworkers love me, and just fuck that off, yeah? Get to the point, avoid the fluff, results driven about section and bio section, and then make sure it makes sense. The amount of bio sections I've read where the person, maybe English isn't your first language, and fair enough, you speak two languages, that's very good of you, but there is amazing AI tools out there, so make sure you actually use them to your advantage to make sure that your bio section actually makes sense. There's no spelling and grammatical errors. This is a big one, but I've seen hiring managers literally go, I don't want to interview that person because they've got one mistake in their CV. Because to them, it shows that you don't have attention to detail. And attention to detail might be an important value driver for that particular hiring manager. Even though that candidate on paper is the perfect candidate, they've made a spelling mistake, you could say that, and the hiring manager didn't want to interview them. You could say that that's terrible from the hiring manager's perspective. Maybe, maybe not. I can't really argue with the person. I mean, I can, because people listen to my and value my opinion from a recruitment perspective. But ultimately, I've seen hiring managers and people get turned off by that. So, and one other thing that I want to know is nobody wants to work with assholes. Make sure that there is a human element to your CV. Okay. What do I mean by a human element? Well, depending on your career, depending on the area of expertise that you're involved in, um, you need to show that that you're not an asshole, basically, especially in roles with like HR and any sort of people focused role. You want to show that you care about people and care about company culture and care about those sorts of things. If you're in a little bit more of a sales driven role, like basically you want to know, they want to know that you're not a fucking asshole to work with and that you get along with people more than anything. So you kind of need to present that in a way that comes across in your CV. Okay. And next point, results-driven career details. So this flows on from the about section, but I see this too many times. People continuously will just list their day-to-day activities in their about section. You know, I read my emails, I fucking followed up with clients, I did marketing campaigns, I developed marketing strategies. People don't care what you did. They want to know what you achieved, right? List out the results, give tangible results, statistics, stats, percentages, figures. People want to know the value that you bring to a business, what you did in that business, what you achieved for that business. That's why they're hiring you. Okay. What value can you add to this particular business? What achievements have you done in your previous entities that make sense for this particular enterprise, right? As the last point says here, leaders care about what you achieved and how you did this. List off what you achieved and how you did that. Doing this can be challenging, so you have to be creative with the way that you present your information. Don't make it boring, like make it interesting for someone to read, right? So if you're a sales guy and you drove $1 million worth of business, obviously you can just say, close $1 million worth of business, but you can be specific. Close $1 million worth of business within enterprise, top 100 companies within the US, or whatever it is that you're delving into. Like, be specific and make it punchy, so that way when someone reads it, they go, wow, this person's interesting, I want to give them a call. Okay. One page CV, self-explanatory. Nobody even bothers to read the second or third page, to be transparent. Like, they just don't. They just want to get to, they like, humans are lazy. And especially if you're going through 100 plus, 200 plus, even 1,000 plus CVs, sometimes I get over 1,000 applications. I do not have time to be going through a second and third page. Like, very rarely will I go look into a second and third page. I really just want to get the information from the first page, right? So you need to try and craft a CV that fits on one page. Now, if you've been in the game for a while and you've been working for 10, 15, 20 plus years, all you really need to do for your earlier companies is put your role title and the dates that you worked at these companies. You don't need to list out your results or daily responsibilities, which you shouldn't be doing anyway, because realistically, certainly when you're in senior positions, companies only care about the last 2 to 3 positions, and that's where they want to see the results, and you need to fit that on one page. How you do that, again, you've got to be creative, but ultimately try and squeeze it on one page, because again, hiring managers, recruiters, etc., they just don't read the second and third page. Okay. Irrelevant skills. So, newsflash, everyone can use Microsoft Office. Everyone is a hard worker. Everyone knows how to present. Don't write this down. This is super irrelevant. What skills are relevant to the job that you're applying for? Is speaking multiple language relevant? Is having certain certifications relevant? These are the types of things that you need to be putting on your CV, particularly aimed at whatever industry, company, or enterprise that you're applying for. Okay. If you do use broad terms, make sure you back this up with specific examples, i.e. stakeholder management or stakeholder engagement. That's a super relevant skill set. And in most businesses, you're going to be doing stakeholder engagement. You're going to be managing up, you're going to be managing down, you're going to be managing clients, etc. when you give that as a skill set, because everyone says that they can do stakeholder engagement or stakeholder management, give them a specific example of you developing this skill set, or of you, sorry, deploying this skill set. Okay, try and think about how you can craft that into one sentence, because your skills section in your CV isn't going to be very long. But stakeholder management, actively managed 5 CEOs or CMOs of major brands that I managed, or something like that, right? Like, that's interesting. Okay, so you managed 5 CMOs. That's a point of conversation for me as a recruiter that would find it interesting for me to want to call you, because that says to me that you have the ability to manage very senior people within an organization, not just one person, 5. That's interesting. You get my point? Okay. Hobbies and interests, right? Everyone loves to travel. Everyone loves fucking horseback riding. Everyone loves music, etc. No one cares in the context of your CV. Like, okay, maybe sometimes if you had like a really cool hobby, whatever the fuck that is, maybe skydiving or something like that. But ultimately, most people don't even bother reading the hobbies. And I know that people say, oh, it's potentially a way that someone might build rapport or like you. I mean, the only way that I would do something like this is if I was cunning, and I'll use the word cunning, or if I was intuitive or uh, smart, I would research whoever it is that I'm hiring, or who would be the hiring manager. I would try and find out what their hobbies are. How you do this, I have no idea, unless you're creepy and you can follow them around, and maybe put the same hobby that they are. But in and of itself is somewhat manipulative, because it might not be your fucking hobby and you're just kind of lying. So, like I say, in the context of your CV, hobbies and interests isn't really that interesting, or isn't that relevant, I should say, for your CV. Okay, you need to save the digital real estate for what's important. What's important, you ask? Everything we just mentioned. Okay, job relevant points. Presentation. This is a big one, and people don't realize how important it is. They think that just throwing in a word CV with bullet points and everything is good enough. It's not, right? It's also somewhat contextual to the industry you're applying for. Corporate industries, banking, insurance, aviation, etc. You should have a CV that looks more corporate. If you're in creative industries, though, more thought is needed, in your CV presentation. Okay. I've seen hiring managers in creative industries not look at a candidate because their CV wasn't creative enough, especially if they're any form of design background or anything like that, where it is super creative. Like, your CV has to be creative. Okay. So then now you need to be creative in a way to have everything that I just mentioned in a creatively formatted CV with all those points, to make sure that you get the best chance of getting reached out to or spoken to. Okay. The cool thing is, nowadays there are several AI tools that will speed up this process. So you don't have to build it from scratch, albeit sometimes it's better if you do, because then it's unique. But there are AI tools that help with this. Simply jump through AI and ask which is the best ones, or Google it. To conclude, I'll just move my photo. Top of the fold contact details, results-driven bio and about section, results-driven career details, one-page CV, relevant skill sets, hobbies and interests, just remove them. Okay. Keep the digital real estate for what's important, and make sure your presentation is on point. That's it. 7 mistakes that people make on their CVs that recruiters hate, and how to fix them. Let me know any questions. I'll be reading the comments. If you don't agree, would love to know and hear why. But honestly, I've looked at thousands of CVs in my time, and this is one of the best ways to lay out your CV and the best things to do. Okay. Cheers, everyone. Peace out.